Morning, everybody. It's been a little while. Sorry about that. Had a bunch of stuff going on here, so it's been kind of one of those things. So my apologies about the not getting back on real quick. Just after getting banned from Twitter and stuff, a lot of stuff just took me a while to get back together. I had pretty much lost all of my every bit of my news media and stuff like that, because I had a pretty good setup with Twitter there, and it's now gone. So yeah, kind of sucked, but it is what it is. And we all got hit, and we're back now. So with that said, let's start seeing how many people start popping in here. We got up to 10 people here. Nobody in chat yet, though. Come on, join in. Don't be afraid. Sorry, just kind of eating some crackers. Sometimes stuck in my teeth. It's the glory of a YouTuber. Let's see here. Today is going to be kind of an interesting topic. I watched a couple interesting videos last night, documentaries that were on Amazon, and I'll share them with you. Obviously, we're not going to watch them here because they're like 4 hours total, and I'm not going to do a 4-hour video show here. It's I can do that by myself. I don't need to have videos to do that. But anyway, no, it's I've been having a lot of trouble visualizing what the future is going to be, and how's money going to work? How's all this stuff going to work? So I've been putting a lot of thought into that and a lot of questioning. And I had these documentaries actually caused a secondary light bulb to go on. As is the case with me, I'll be watching something about one thing and it triggers something over here. And that's exactly what happened. So, well, this would be, I haven't written a thread in a while, and, let's just do this live and off the cuff. And so we'll play it by that way. Getting more and more people in here. So give me just a second here. I got to make sure I get all these out here so people know that it's going on. People asking if my Twitter threads are available. Yeah, I still have them, but we're going to be taking some time to get those back on the road. So there's a lot of work to be done there. Let's see, did I get that posted in Gab? Pretty sure I did. Kind of hard to make sure that you got everything covered like you used to. That was the nice thing about Twitter. I mean, much as we hated Twitter for what it was, it also had some positives to it. I can't believe there's nobody in chat yet. Come on, guys. You're not all going to lurk on me, are you? All right. It is what it is. I might not have gotten that. Okay. Back to focusing here. So how many people we got? We got 37. I guess we can start. So yesterday I ran across a couple videos. I was just looking for something to watch last night, yesterday evening, trying to get my mind off of life, the universe, and everything. And that's usually when I start watching videos. And I'll admit I'm Amazon Prime, so a lot of this stuff I can access there. I refuse to support Netflix, and Amazon has some benefits. So just convenience wise, I try not to use it any more than I need to, but sometimes it's not avoidable. So let me get over into the screen share side here. Okay. First thing we're going to take a look at here is this movie, Unacknowledged. Now, this is done by Dr. Greer, Stephen M. Greer, who is part of this Disclosure Project. Now, I'm going to say right up front that there is some... Oh, chat's off? Hang on. Someone just posted that here, so let me figure out. Oh, has YouTube disabled my chat? I'll have to figure that out. Somebody just posted that they can't join chat, so it looks like maybe YouTube has killed it. Great. Yeah, Quiet Voice just posted that they're trying to chat in my live stream channel. It says this action is not allowed. Maybe screwing with my channel. Gee, what a surprise. So regrettably, the chat's not going to work today. So, pick your group. I'll try to keep track of it on Telegram. That's going to be interesting because I think I posted in about 10 groups. So pardon if I missed stuff today, guys, but I'll do my best. Anyway, so back to what we got going here. We have this basically it's a documentary, and it's mainly about aliens, which I don't normally go in for because I'm kind of on the fence about that. There's too much disinformation out there about aliens, too much stuff that won't let us fully discuss it knowledgeably. So I was just watching it for a frame of reference. Now, I mean, it's pretty easy to tell pretty on that the guy that's presenting this is ex-CIA. And his constitutional lawyer is definitely deep state as well. So we have to, take that into consideration when we're watching what we're watching. But the interesting thing is not about the aliens. What this video, and then he does a sequel too in this Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, which was done in 2020. And these are both, I really strongly suggest that you watch these. What he does in these two is he completely and totally lays out the deep state. Every single part of it is on display here. He shows the CIA's connection to Mockingbird, to higher education, to Hollywood, and to science. Okay. He lays all of that information out. He gets into the quantum mechanics of thought and how it interacts with the universe and stuff like that. And that's also critical and crucial to a lot of the Great Awakening. So while what he's saying about UFOs and aliens and stuff, I consider to be somewhat disinfo because it is, because a lot of what they're talking about is, okay, we know that the triangular shaped craft with the circle in the center are TR-3Bs. They're not alien craft. They're domestic craft. So there's a lot of stuff there that he talks about that he attributes to aliens that we know is not true. But that's not the point of what I'm talking about. What I'm pointing to is the way he's presenting all the other information, the background info to support what he's saying. And that's where he's spot on the money. And I can't believe they let him get away with being that open about all of it. It's incredible. It is a major red pill. I was like hopping up and down going, oh my God, the whole time I was watching it. It was that good. So I really suggest you guys blow the 4 hours to watch these two. It'll help form a frame of reference, and it's a good viewpoint for everybody to have. Plus, it's also useful to see the way that they use disinformation, because they do get into that to some degree, while they're also using disinformation to throw you off the scent about aliens and close encounters and things like that. So anyway, that being said, one of the things that happened while I was watching this was, let me stop this here and get back to the video side, is that he was framing a paradigm for the future of the world, as it were. Now, that's, could be a complex conversation, and it is a complex conversation. That's what's going to take up most of today. But what he was commenting on was the free energy side of it. Now, I know Damon, my buddy, Mr. Wolf, did a great show on Patriot Transition Voice a couple days ago about Tesla. And I would really recommend that you go take a look at that, and because it's going to have some bearing on what we're talking about here. Free energy is going to be a life changer. It's going to be a world changer. Okay. They're describing in the video, they're describing a little plexiglass looking box that basically can power a whole city. Okay. So can you imagine that power being available to everybody? Okay. There being one in every household. There being one in every transportation device. There being one everywhere. Okay. Let's think about what all requires energy and what we pay for that requires energy. Production of almost everything is you're mainly paying for energy costs. Let's just take something simple like steel. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that steel's in, but you have to pay the energy to get it out of the ground, be it the mining materials, the electricity to do so, all the transportation costs for the miners to go to and from to produce their food. All of this, it's all intrinsic in the value of the thing, not to mention the time. So you have all the energy to extract the material to make it. Then you have the energy to transport the material to where it's made. Then you have the energy involved in making it, which in the cases of any metal is pretty high, because melting points, that's a lot of wasted, a lot of heat and a lot of energy used. And then you have the refining process, meaning the process of where it's molded or cast or forged and then finished and then shaped, and then all of this. And every step of it, and there's a transportation phase in the middle of every one of these. Energy is everything. Okay. So when you have that, and you frame everything into that frame of reference, you begin to understand how much we pay for production and energy costs for everything that we buy. Well, if you think about that, then it means the cost of almost everything is going to drop drastically, because you're not going to have to pay for that. That's going to be gone. So you're no longer going to have to worry about paying, $1,000 for 100 pounds of steel. It's going to be a fraction of that. Okay. So when those prices start to fall because the energy costs aren't there, what's going to happen? Farming is another excellent one. It costs energy to produce. It costs energy to farm it. It costs energy to grow it. It costs energy to get the water to it. It costs all of this. Okay. It costs energy to harvest it, to move it, to bag it, to sell it. Okay, it all costs energy. So when we take that energy and we make it universal and accessible to everybody, okay. Now I'm not talking just here in the States. I'm talking these cubes are going to be in Africa. They're going to be in Asia. They're going to be in India. They're going to be everywhere where there's people. Anybody's going to have access to it. It's like the cell phone, okay, and the internet. Everybody's going to have access to it. How's that going to change things? Okay. Well, if you think about it, one of the things that America has brought is centralization, which We'll get into that. But that's also allowed us to centralize the production. That's allowed us to centralize our energy. It's allowed us to maximize everything that we are doing so that we can make the most of it, as it were. Okay. Well, they don't have that necessarily. They've never built that infrastructure in the Africa or in some sections of the Middle East and, you know, in Asia's and stuff like that. There's definitely sections of the world that don't have major infrastructure to support this kind of stuff. But what happens when you can take a plot of land and let's say 5 acres, okay? Because 5 acres is about what it takes to support a family, you know, for farming and water and all that and everything you need, you know. So you can live, have your own little plot, a farm, okay? And you don't have to farm it. You've got a robot that's going to go out there and, you know, rototill and water and do all the shit you need. I mean, you know, we have the technology already to do this. We're just not doing it. Okay. But you can take now what's an unusual plot of land because we can't afford to bring water to it. Instead, you drill down, get your well. Doesn't cost you anything to drill it. Doesn't cost you anything to pump it out of the ground. Use that, make that land livable, make that land usable. Okay. Now let's diverge slightly here and let's talk about something else. Let me get into this. Give me just a second here. Okay. So one of the things that I'd heard a long time ago was the entire population of the Earth. Could it fit into Alaska? Now we're going to use the number 8 billion as the approximate population of the Earth. We're right around that number right now. Okay. So basically what they're saying is that we could easily fit everybody in Alaska and they'd have something like, I don't know, what is it? About 210 square meters per person. Okay. So that 210 square meters, here, let me blow that up so everybody can see it. Sorry. I forget that it's much smaller for everybody. So 210 square meters isn't a whole lot. That's like 600 foot per person. Square feet. That's not huge. That's, you know, 60 by 100. That's the size of an average house, you know. So that's great, but you can't produce anything. You can't grow anything on that. So if we look at that, about an acre of farmland to feed a single person year round. So for a family of 4 or 5, you'd need, you know, 5 acres. All right. But, you know, 1 acre per person is a pretty easy math. So you're going to need about 32 million square kilometers to feed 8 billion people adequately. And again, that's assuming free energy and all this. Everybody has their acre, you know, that's what they get. All right. 32 billion people, or 32 million square kilometers, about the size of Africa, is what it would take to feed and room every person on this planet that exists currently. Okay. So that means that everything else is a wide open, theoretically. Okay. So if we take a look at the size of the Earth, there's 510 million square kilometers on this planet. So what that means is that we, the planet, could pretty much support 130 billion people given free energy. Okay. So overpopulation is not an issue. Lack of resource using is the issue, or resource, what's the word I'm looking for? Management is the correct word. So lack of resource management is really our big thing. And that all goes away when free energy comes into play. Okay. Because again, the costs will go to nothing. I mean, you could make the Sahara a lush garden land. Okay. So the it's just mind blowing, the potential here. Okay, and that's what I'm trying to get across to everybody is that until we understand that we have this potential, and this potential is what's on the horizon, then we've got so much. I mean, man, we have our whole paradigm is going to shift. I mean, we get up in the morning, we have breakfast, we have energy to make it through the day, we go to work to pay for the breakfast and the clothes and the energy and the cars and everything it takes to get to work and to do the grocery shopping and do everything that we do. That's our paradigm, and a lot of people have equated that to wage slaves, slave labor, and there's a lot of truth to that. It's just amazing, that we've allowed ourselves to fall into that, but it's the American dream. I mean, we were sold that, I mean, everybody wants to be a part of the American dream. Okay, well, the American dream is a wage slave. Okay. But what if you can have the American dream without having the wage slavery? Okay. So when you remove the cost of production and the cost of energy out of everything on the planet, okay, everything, be it food, be it material, be it whatever, pretty much all you have is labor. Okay. And it's not going to take 8 billion people to do all the labor that we're talking about here. And you also have to consider that we also have new technologies that are coming in line, like robotics, which are going to eliminate a lot of the more tedious, hardworking, like I was using the gardening example. But production line stuff, things like that, the menial labor work is going to go away. So what are we going to do? We're just going to sit around and pick our nose? Well, I mean, I suppose you could if you want. But what are you going to do for food? I mean, you'd think that at some point we're going to still need to do something, and what if I want to go buy a new transportation device? That's not going to come for free. Totally. It's going to be inexpensive, but it's not going to be free either. Well, I mean, there's going to be some barter going on and stuff like that. I mean, there's going to be maintenance and things that need to be done that you can't farm out and things like that. I mean, it's mechanics. Anytime you got anything mechanical, it's going to break or electrical or whatever. No, that's Murphy was definitely a car guy. It's my joke from the automotive industry. But anyway, so you're going to have a major shift in how we do things and how we approach things, how we live. Okay. Will we even have to work? Well, I'm of the opinion that we will all be able to do what we want to do. All of us have a calling. All of us have this dream that we have of what we want to do in our life. We want to write a book. We want to research. We want to meditate. We want to race. We want to build things. We want to produce things. We want to design things. What if you could pursue that at will? Your dream, your true, honest to God dream, and do it with minimal outlay of money. Because most of your stuff is going to be very inexpensive. Your food is going to be provided around your house, so you're not going to have to go anywhere to get it. If you want things like beef or whatever, you'll probably end up finding a way of getting that locally, which I have no problems with. In fact, I'd much prefer that than some, huge production line deal going on. So, I mean, there's always going to be those people that are doing things that they want to do. And there's always going to be somebody that's going to want to do something. I mean, Nobody wants to be a gravedigger. Nobody wants to be the sewage guy. I mean, the only reason sewer guys do what they do is because it makes them good money and they don't have a sense of smell or a non-queasy stomach. But, you know, I mean, so there's going to be unpleasant jobs. But I mean, again, with energy being free, effectively, all that stuff becomes a little easier to deal with. So how are our lives going to look? What are they going to look like? Well, imagine this. Okay, so we need an acre for a person. Okay, so a family of 4 or 5. We've got a 4 or 5 acre plot. Let's just say it's a 5 acre per family. Okay, it's easily done, well within the boundaries of what we have available land-wise in the world. You've got free water because your free energy well is pumping all the water that you need. You've got free labor to till the ground, break the rocks up, pull the rocks, plant your seeds, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The only cost you're going to have is in the seeds, and that's an initial cost, because once you get rid of the GMO, you actually get seeds out of what you've planted from the year before, so you replenish your own seed stock. So you only have to buy the initial seeds, or unless you want to add, you know, a new crop or something. And even you could probably even barter for those. So your food's going to become virtually free for the most part. Our diet will change to a much healthier diet. You know, I'm a fine one to sit here and talk, but I've watched all the documentaries, Forks Over Knives, you know, all that stuff, you know, the poisons of sugar and stuff, things like that will go away. You know, we know that sugar is one of the worst things possible for the human body. And that's a more addictive drug than cocaine. And we're all addicted to it in one way, shape, or form. But if you remove that out of the equation, then everything changes. Our health will get better and things like that. And then you start adding the med beds and all those technologies and all those advances. Now, the other thing that people I need to make clear, and the only reason I'm cognizant and aware of some of this is because I read so much science fiction when I was younger. And anti-gravity is, Isaac Asimov in particular, had a lot of his storylines based on anti-gravity and the idea of it. Well, we know that the Germans were working on anti-gravity craft. In fact, their flying bells that I have not really covered, but I do know about, were primarily thought to be powered by an anti-gravity type device, having to do with electrical field, magnetic field, and some gyroscopic motion and stuff like that. So if we end up with free energy and anti-gravity driven devices, can you imagine a riding lawnmower sized vehicle, okay, that can hover, move around, fly around like the Jetsons? You can hook to, I don't know, a mountain. You can find a way to grab onto it. You pick that mountain up, move it, do whatever you want at no cost, energy-wise. Okay. Hardest part of that would be hooking up to it and containing it so it didn't just crumble and fall away. But as far as the mass and the weight, it wouldn't matter because the device would expend the power necessary. Once you get in the field of the anti-gravity, that whatever you're connected to becomes part of that. There's no inertia. There's no acceleration. There's nothing. It just picks up like it's a feather. You move it where you want it. You place it there. Okay. Thus making potentially some of the big rocks that we see like Tiahuanaco and those kinds of Baalbek, those kinds of places, a little bit more understandable. Because we know from the Vedas that they understand this and they had these machines back in the day. So again, we're relooping and rediscovering things that have already been known in our history, our ancient history, but they're there now. And that's not the only way that they could have done those big rocks. There's also the concrete, the poured idea too, which is also a very valid thought process, and it explains the lack of seams and things like that. Anyway, we do know that some of them were definitely quarried, though, especially Baalbek, because you can see where they were quarrying them. So, but nobody knows how they moved them. Well, maybe they know. Maybe they had something else. You know, I mean, if you look at some of the stuff that you get in Egypt, and again, this is something that Wolf and I have talked about, Damon Riddle and I, in the Jeds and the Dara bulbs and stuff that they have on the walls in the hieroglyphs in Egypt, we don't know for sure what they are. They look like they could be some sort of tech. Okay, well, you know, and I could take the time to find the pictures for you if you want to see them, but they're out there. They're easily found. So anyway, getting back to where I was really going is our world is about ready to have I don't want to use the word cataclysmic because that implies bad. A paradigm shifting move. I mean, we're about ready to go from here to boom. Ironically, you know, the utopian type world that Star Trek kind of espoused, and you know, everybody, you know, all the plants grow fine and everybody's always happy and doing stuff, and you know, that's kind of what we're heading towards. I really think so, and I really think that's what Trump is planning for. Now, another thing that these two documentaries talk about is the power of thought and how thought interacts with the physical world. And that's something that we know is real. Quantum physics is proving that. Quantum entanglement, things like that. It's proving sorry, I'm going to mangle this word. It's instantaneous, but that's not the word. But anyway, you can have two photons that were created at the same time. They split. They go thousands and hundreds of thousands of miles apart. And you can flip the polarity of one of them, and the other one flips at the exact same time. So they remain entangled. And that's called quantum entanglement. And that's the potential for being able to have communication over light years of distance. Because you got to remember, and again, we're getting into some of the weird stuff again. When you look at, say, let's just take Alpha Centauri, the closest sun other than our sun to us, okay? If you were to look up in the night sky and identify Alpha Centauri, you're looking at the light that is 4.3 years old. That light is not the current light. That's the light that came out of that star 4.3 years ago. It took light 4.3 years to travel from that star to our eyeball, okay? That's what the speed of light is. And that's what it means, it means that's the time, and it's actually a distance measure in space that it takes for something to move. When we look at our sun, we're not seeing the instantaneous thing. We're seeing what happened 8 minutes ago. 8.5, I believe, is 5.3 or something like that. But anyway, it takes time for that light to travel from the sun to here. It doesn't happen like that. You're not seeing instantaneously what happened. You're seeing what happened 8 or 9 minutes ago. That's known as the speed of light. Okay, and in the traditional physical model of the universe, we cannot exceed that. Einstein's theory of relativity and all that, because the closer you get to the speed of light, the more massive something gets and the more energy it takes, and pretty soon you run out of energy that you can utilize, because it takes the energy of the whole universe to move the whole universe, because the numbers get to infinity really fast. So that's why most things are about moving faster than the speed of light involves distorting space, time, dimensional travel. Instead of moving in a straight line, you're transitioning in the transition back, or, you warp, things like that. They used to call it hyperspace. And there's a bunch of different ways of looking at it. But what if we can, and I guess the point I was making is that radio or thought or sound is the same thing. And sound not so much, let's throw that one away. But any sort of electromagnetic spectrum, your cell phone, the internet, computers, electricity is all speed of light based, limited. And a lot of times it's even lower than that because of, resistance in like copper wires or transistors or whatever. But the core is the speed of light, which is pretty damn fast. So if we eliminate that limitation and say we can instantaneously transmit between here and, say, Alpha Centauri due to quantum entanglement, that removes some very problematic things about long-term space travel. And the secret Space Force supposedly has already been to another galaxy. I would not be surprised if it was the Andromeda Galaxy, because it is the closest one. Could have been M44, the Magellanic Cloud, but that's effectively part of our galaxy now. Anyway, semantics. But all of this becomes so much easier when you have zero cost energy and anti-gravity, because you can accelerate up to the speed of light instantaneously because you have no mass. Okay. You can make right-hand turns. You can make left-hand turns. You know, that puts us from here to the moon in like that. When you accelerate from 0 to the speed of light, once you're out of the atmosphere, you don't know how to do that in the atmosphere. Friction still applies. No, it wouldn't. Actually, it would not, because the anti-gravity you'd have a bubble around you that would, anyway. So no, the atmosphere doesn't apply. It would be outside of that. So you would be able to take off from the ground, hit the speed of light, be the moon in 2 seconds. I think that's the delay, is a 2 or 4 second delay. Okay. That's a trip that took the Apollo astronauts 4 days. Okay. The moon is a 30-day trip, or Mars, is a 30-day trip. You could do it in probably 5 minutes. Okay. Jupiter in 20 minutes. Pluto, 9 hours. Okay. The solar system becomes much smaller and accessible when you do that. Now, you still have problems because you're still limited by the speed of light. Okay. And that's where things like the warp drive, the warp idea have come in. And they've actually proven that a Star Trek-like warp drive is feasible. Okay, there's been papers published, and we know that it's feasible. So if they published a paper on this feasibility, it means they're doing it. If they get a paper out to the public that they're saying that this is feasible, and it's something that seems really high-tech, we're doing it already. We may not know it, but it's happening. So that means they've already got a warp drive figured out. They've already got a faster than light setup done. That means that they're going out there and they're seeing things. Okay. Which for me is my lifelong dream. I mean, I didn't read all this science fiction all these years to sit here on the planet and go, that'd be kind of cool. No, I want to get my ass out there and see what the hell's out there. I mean, that's sign me up. Let me go. Anyway, so all of this starts becoming possible because of 0 point energy and because of anti-gravity. Those two things are going to unlock the goddamn universe for us. And we have them. Tesla gave us the 0 point energy. The Germans or whoever gave us anti-gravity. This is how drastically our world is going to change because of D-class and because of everything that's going on. And this is what Trump is pushing us towards. Now, this doesn't even count the psychological and emotional and spiritual ascendancy that we're going to be able to achieve by not having to work full time, by being able to focus on self, by being able to meditate, by having the time to focus on that inner development that we've been so distracted from for millennia now. Okay. Because we've become wage slaves. Anyway, I always want to put slave first. So once we are able to focus on that, what are we going to be able to accomplish as far as ourselves? Are we going to be able to ascend, as everybody's talking about? Now, I want to talk about that for a minute because a common misconception is that we're 3D beings. Okay. Categorically, that is incorrect. We are already four-dimensional beings. You have X, you have Y, you have Z, and you have time. Time is the fourth dimension. Now, some people say that's a construct, but no, time is important because it is a measure. Okay. And if you can measure it, it's a dimension. So we're already fourth dimensional beings. Okay. So we have to accept that we are moving towards 5D. Okay. Now, 5D is where I would classify the demons and the angels, and very possibly the aliens. Okay. I don't necessarily totally buy into the alien thing. I think there's some out there, but not as many. And I don't think we have the reptilians or the Dracos, because let's just say that the whole focus of so much of the disinformation has been that the aliens are hostile. That leads me to believe that the aliens are not hostile at all. Okay. Think mirror. It's exactly opposite of what they're telling us, because they want us to believe that, because they want us to fear. So we back off and we go, okay, so if they want us to fear that, that means that it's probably this. And that's really what I think it is I think for the most part that they're friendly. So anyway, man, this goes everywhere. So, I mean, and this is the kind of stuff that, be glad you guys aren't in my head, because it gets really confusing up there at times. I always tell anybody that won't say, well, I wish I could pick through your brain. Well, just wear rubber gloves and you'll be safe. But anyway, if we transition to fifth dimensional beings, and consequently, I believe that God is exactly what they call him in the Bible. Okay. So if God is all-knowing and omnipresent, what does that make him dimensionally? Well, that means he's got to be sixth dimension. So that puts him above, again, the angels in that order above. You know, we've got these hierarchies that we have to pay attention to. And they're laid out in the Bible, and they're laid out in the Vedas, and they're laid out in a bunch of different historical holy books. Okay. So if God is all-knowing and omnipresent and the creator, which sixth-dimensional being could very easily create a fourth-dimensional reality and be aware of the whole of it. I mean, that's like us watching over an ant farm, you know, a two-dimensional ant farm. It's nothing. Okay. And we can put it together. We can grab, you know, we can't quite create the ants, but, you know, I mean, we're not God, but, you know, but I mean, it's the order of magnitude. You know, it's like us watching tape flatworms. You know, they don't even know, or they can't even really tell we're there. We're three-dimensional beings there, or four-dimensional beings there are three dimensions. Okay. So that's what the next step up is going to be, the angels and demons and the aliens and whatever's interacting in that fifth dimensional and that fifth dimension. And we ascend to that. Okay. We're still not at the level of God, because God, the creator, is in that sixth dimension. Now, that's not saying that there are more than one entity occupying that level. And I think that's where a lot of people get confused, is like, you know, we can put the name God to it, but I think there's multiple beings that occupy that and have interacted with us. Anyway, that's my own personal belief. I don't expect anybody to necessarily buy into that either. We just have a really, 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 really exciting time ahead of us. I mean, it's going to be a time for personal development, personal growth, spiritual growth, emotional growth. Wealth is not going to be what we think of it. Our paradigm is going to change so drastically. It's not going to be about accumulation of things. I mean, you're going to have things that mean stuff, you know, you're going to have important things that, you know, but they're more emotional attachments than they are any other thing. So we're going to have to just totally and completely adjust our idea of reality and our idea of, and that's what I've been struggling to be able to come to grips with is I understand all of this and I understand how we're moving and where we're moving, but what is it going to look like after? You know, what are all these changes? What are they going to make? How are we going to get there? You know, is money going to be a thing? Are we going to be locked in, are we going to be driving cars? Are they going to be flying things? Are they going to be, a flying anti-gravity lawn tractor? Who knows? The future is the limit. The sky's the limit. The future looks very, very bright. I'm in awe that POTUS is aware of this and is pushing us this way. For all those, and this is going to come across disparagingly, and I don't really mean it that way, but it's just kind of how it's going to come across. For all the new agers out there, they're going to, that are following the wrong path. This is the path you want to be on. This is the right path. This is the path of self-development, personal development, enlightenment. This is not the giving your power away to an unknown being and utilizing it. This is you actualizing your own power and growing in it. It's I'm just, like I say, Star Trek. I mean, just think of that utopia that they show on these planets where everybody's, dressed, doing their thing. And it's nice, green and lush, and everybody's happy, and nobody's wanting. And that's where we're going. That's where we potentially could be. So anyway, that's all I got. But now I'm going to go and try to find some comments because I've got like 72 different Telegram things open here, and I know people are commenting. So give me a minute here and I'll find them and I'll try to answer them. Yes, I'm aware that my YouTube is not working. I will probably end up having to create a Telegram chat for my show. In fact, if everybody waits, I'll have to do that again for the next show. Boom, boom, boom. Sorry, I'm just looking at everything because I don't know who posted what, where. Hey, Chain, good to see you. Glad to have you on. Thanks, Lion, for throwing out the info and posting that. Thanks, D. I appreciate that. Yeah, sorry you just joined in, Chain. You missed a lot of stuff. That would have been good for you to be seeing all that, because I'm sure you'd be letting me know if I'm off base or not. Got somebody that's really wanting me to cover the bankruptcy of the union. I'm gonna stay away from that right now. That's still a maybe in my book. I think that's probably where we're going, but I don't know. There's a lot of questions and a lot of things in the road that we haven't gotten there. But anyway, yeah, Lion. Definitely, free energy is going to change the world. Combination of free energy and anti-gravity. It's mind blowing, the implications. Because again, you can move mountains literally with no effort, and we won't need to. I mean, we won't need to mine like we do for like coal, or drill for gas or petroleum like we do. I mean, we'll still need some of the petroleum, because so many things are created with petroleum that people don't understand. It's not just gas and oil and petrol and natural gas and propane. They're in oils and stuff like that. It's plastics. I mean, criminy, whatever you're watching me on wouldn't be possible without petroleum, because there's a ton of plastic in everything that we utilized. I have not talked about the XRP or any of that yet. The financial side of it is something I'm a little vague on, and honestly, based on what I'm thinking I'm seeing, I don't know that we're even going to have a financial side. I see a possibility of it not being necessary at all. But there probably will always need to be some sort of financial transaction capability based on, purchasing land or purchasing abilities. Anyway, there's lots of things there that, I don't know enough about the XRP and the Bitcoin and the digital monies to be able to talk authoritatively on it. So I would rather not say much than give bad information. I think it's possible that, we could each have a government wallet, and the wallet contains money that is put there to be utilized based on income the government creates based on trade and other things. That, it's basically, how like Alaskans get a check from the government every year because of the oil that they sell. Something along those lines, basically we reap the profits of the country as citizens because it's our country. But again, if trade, still, that's part of it. I'm not very good at the financial side of it, so I'm still trying to wrap my head around the big possibilities there. I mean, anyway. So much to go over, so many things. I was going to leave money pretty much out of it. I was just going to stay with the possibility of the free energy and the anti-grav and transportation and the effects on the food industry and the production industry and what that's in robotics and how that's going to change things. I mean, we are going to see everything that we know is going to change. Everything that we understand is going to change. Everything. It's just going to be so dry. Landscape's going to be so different, but it's going to be so much better because we're going to be able to do and so many people are going to be able to do the things that they want to do and their passion and their calling in life. So, we'll get there. I think that we're heading that way. I think right now we're in the process of the great show, watching the movie, as it were, getting the normies woke. And that's what we're watching right now. I'm still convinced that that's what's going on. Nothing else adds up. Well, nothing adds up to a positive outcome other than that. And I'm not willing to give up on the positive outcome. I really do think that we are literally watching a show that is designed completely and totally to wake the normies. I mean, let's just take Joe Biden. Okay. Biden is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I posted it in a couple groups, and I can grab it and share it if everybody here. In fact, I'll put it up on the screen. Give me just a second here. Let me get it opened up, and I'll share it. Okay. We have here are the two different Joe Bidens. Okay. Now, I can't say enough about the fact that this is two different people. The evidence is so clear that's right in front of your eyes. And let me just go over the differences here. The main one that I see, detached earlobe, attached earlobe. Okay. And you can look at other angled pictures, and this is the current Joe Biden, the one we have as president, quote unquote, has attached earlobes. Okay. The old Joe Biden definitely had detached earlobes. Now, that doesn't happen during plastic surgery. Okay. You don't get that kind of a change. The other thing that people need to see, and I'll try to illustrate this here as effectively as I can. Oh, of course, all my stuff is underneath the doohickey there. Sorry, stuff you can't see. Size of my deal here. Okay. Notice the shape of this guy's forehead. Okay, his head has a very V-like, where this one is very vertical. Okay. And also notice the cleft chin here. No cleft chin here. You don't just magically get a cleft chin. Okay. And let's not even talk about signature. I mean, that's so obvious. It's not even funny. You don't go from doing Joe Biden with a bar and then that to a J, R, and then a loop to Biden, B. I mean, that B is so different. You don't change that. And then junior. When did he become a junior? This just showed up like after he got elected, after he got sworn in. I didn't know he was a junior. Does anybody else know he was a junior? That's completely new to me. My thought on clones, no. Okay. Here's the deal. Let's look at this scientifically. Okay. If it's a clone, it means it's got the exact same DNA as the old one. Okay. The old one has detached earlobes, and that means if they utilized his DNA to create the new clone, he would also have detached earlobes. So this isn't a clone. This is a lookalike or a double, or an actor wearing a mask. And I've shown plenty of evidence in the past, and I wish I had those threads available still, that masks are real. They're very, very good. I could probably flip through and find some pictures to show you. But these are definitely two different people. And there's different people here. Definitely. It's not a clone. Are there clones? Yes. But are they utilized for what everybody thinks they are? No. And I'll continue to say that. And we really need to back off the whole, well, that's a clone thing, because that just makes us look crazy to those who we might otherwise be able to reach if we were to use factual things like showing this and not presenting it as a clone, but presenting it as a double or an actor, or an actor wearing a mask, which are things that we can tangibly prove. You can't tangibly prove cloning, even though we know it's possible, but we can't prove it. Anyway, I mean, even look at the shoulder structure here. It's very different. I mean, the build's similar, but this one's got broader shoulders. The point from here to here is a lot wider than the point from here to here. So the old Joe has got even broader shoulders. So it's possible that we're seeing a combination of deep fake and a lookalike, but I don't know that we are seeing deep fakes. I think we've seen a couple, but I don't think it's anything reasonable. Or I think that one video that we saw of Kamala Harris, where she looked so out of place, I think that was a deep fake, because the facial expressions were not even real. They were there's no face that can create some of those. Yes, exactly, Shane. That's exactly what I believe that these clones for was harvesting. I don't think that they were utilized as anything other than that. So not too useful. Yeah, the thing about cloning is that a clone still has to go through the gestation period and still has to go through the aging period. And nobody has been able to show me a convincing way of accelerating that. Oh, hang on. I think the chat is open. Let me see here. I thought I saw got too many screens open here. Ah, there we are. Okay, the YouTube chat is opening. So everybody, if you're going to chat, go into the YouTube. That's where everything is. So I'm going to pay attention there. Oh, hey, okay. Let me put a note here in my where can I do this? It doesn't let me put a note in here. That's exciting. All right, here, I'll do this here. All right. Well, good to see everybody. Let me stop the share here because we got that point across. Go back to my ugly mug on the screen. Anyway, now I got two chats I got to keep track of here. So many things going on. I have to arrange everything so I can see everybody. There we go. I have to read in two places, guys. Okay, so a 15-hour stream. No way, guys. Sorry. I got to have a life. Hey, everybody. Good to see you. Glad everybody's popping in. Now that we have chat, I'll be able to extend this out a ways. We're already into an hour, so it won't be that hard to draw it out, answer everybody's questions. Yeah, I'll start. I have all the videos backed up, so that's not an issue. So anyway, the big earthquakes in Antarctica, let me address those really fast. They're all happening in the Sandwich Islands. Sandwich Islands, well, if you give me just a minute, we'll, since I have that stuff readily available. There's stuff, last earthquakes, boom. And scroll down the Sandwich Islands. Ooh, that's in a different place. That's further up the fault line than the last ones were. Let me make a change here so everybody can understand what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm going to have to do this a special way. Draw a rectangle on a map. Draw my little rectangle here. Boom, use this region. We'll go 2.5 plus, custom. Oh, let's start at 2 years ago. Now let's start at 3 years ago. So that's 2018. Oops. Let's go back to 05. Let's see what it shows. Search. Okay. Let me screen share again so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. Okay, this is basically 15 years worth of earthquakes in that neck of the woods. All right. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm showing there. There it is. Okay, the orange is the orange dots are the ones that have occurred recently. All the gray ones are the old earthquakes that have happened in this chain for a long time. And I'd be willing to bet that this fault line that they don't have marked here to here is complete based on what I see right here. You can pretty much follow the fault lines by looking at the pattern of the quakes. And you can see that they're pretty close in most cases. Okay. Now, keep in mind, this is not Antarctica. This down here is Antarctica. This up here is considered part, it's an island chain off the coast of Antarctica, but it's not really Antarctica. I mean, that's like saying that Vancouver Island is part of Washington. It's close, but it's not that close, you know. But this earthquake storm and the other one that was right down here was another one that was fairly current. But as you can see, this is a very tectonically active area, especially out here. Anytime you see anything out in this arc, don't even worry about it. It's normal. And anything along these other lines is actually fairly normal as well, because it's just an active area. I mean, it's part of the Ring of Fire in effect. I mean, the Ring of Fire does extend out this way and back. It's part of that whole circular grouping that goes around the Pacific. Even though this comes into the Atlantic, it's part of that whole structure. Anyway, so when people start making a big noise about earthquakes in the Antarctic, this is what you're seeing. I don't necessarily buy this as being anything major. To me, this is what it's supposed to be. So anyway. Hey, everybody. Glad to have you all here. Everybody, if you're on YouTube, make sure you follow Have Truth Seeker and Quiet Voice. They're both excellent channels. They have done a lot of, they've both helped me greatly by utilizing in my information and actually having me on their shows. I will be being on Hev's cast at some point as soon as we can get all of our T's crossed and I's dotted, being 20 some hours apart or whatever it is that we are, or 18 hours or whatever, her being in Australia, me being in Seattle. But we'll get that arranged, and I'll come on her show and talk about whatever the heck she wants to talk about. But anyway, so let's stop sharing here and get back into this. Well, I appreciate that, AZ Blondie. Thank you. You're welcome. The dark entity in Antarctica won't be weakened by quakes, Cindy. That's going to be other things that weaken it, and it's going to be us mainly that weaken it. Our belief and our faith and our reaching out and basically praying and stuff like that. So let me go back here. Hey, PM, good to see you, man. I'm glad to see you. Plastics for computers is 10 times cheaper from hemp and 100 times better for the environment. I was not aware that there was plastics from hemp. That's good to know, because, again, once we get to that point where we can start farming at low cost, hemp becomes wonderful. Let's see. I am on Twitter. Was on Twitter. You know, the stupid thing is I can still get into my Twitter. I can still look around. I can't post. I can't update. But I can. There's still messages I get from Twitter. And it was really funny. After I got banned, 3 days later, I got a notice from Twitter saying that they had looked at an account that I reported and that they took action based on my report of the account. I'm like, I haven't reported anybody. Well, it was Bards of War. They claimed that I put a report in on Bards of War. And then they utilized that to ban Bards of War. Well, I didn't do that. So what they're doing is they're playing a game, is they're suspending, and then they're cross-pointing these accounts, claiming that they're getting reports from these accounts. Oh, hey, we got reports on it, so we had to take action. So it was complete and total bullshit. I mean, I like Bards. There's no way I'd report them. So anyway. Let's see here. 14 hours of sitting. No. Thoughts on Star Wars? I think that there's a possibility that tech of Star Wars is there. I do not think that we're going to see the dystopian nature of Star Wars, Galactic Empire, Republic type thing. That's more of a commentary on current Earth. I do think that some of the technology, amen for a speeder bike. That'd be so awesome. But yeah, I think a lot of that is possible. Also, the duality of the Force, as it were. The Force is definitely a a description of the quantum effects of the mind and how we do things. And I really think that that's something that we should do. Shane, you said good place for weapons testing. What was that in reference to? I missed that. Oh, okay. I didn't know that we were doing that down there. I thought that was all South Pacific. Ah, interesting. Okay, well, there we go. Hint, hint. By the way, the person I'm referring to has some pretty good insights that I like to utilize from time to time. And it's nice that he's watching because it's one of those people I trust what he says. So, but anyway, where I am on Telegram as I have my own channel is Snarkish Dano, or Dano's House of Snark, I should say. Basically it's an aggregation thing where I put together what other Anons are posting, and other Anons are actually posting on there. Like Marek and Silence Do Good and Army of Frogs, and some of those other guys are in there posting. Lions in there, Machiavelli's in there, a lot of good D-masters in there. I mean, there's a lot of good Anons in there that are posting news, digs, decodes. So it's not necessarily me posting all the time on that channel. I do post from time to time, but everybody that's in there that's posting is a solid Anon, and the info that's being put out is most likely good. There's been some that I've kind of raised my eyebrow at, but it's up to us to discern individually. Everybody has to do that on their own. So just because you see it there doesn't necessarily mean I agree with it 100%, but it's worthy of watching and reading. So, and that's basically what the other chat is that there's it's a Telegram. I've got probably 6 or 7 different chats going on Telegram right now. Telegram, like I say, I'm Snarkish Dano. I am on Gab as well, as Snarkish Dano. I'm not necessarily posting there a ton. Like if I decide to do a thread on what I'm talking about today, which I probably will, I'll post it in both places. I'm not going to keep up on Gab a whole lot until I know that it's the final solution. I really don't like the effort to build a big following, especially organically the way I do it. It takes so long. I mean, it took me 2 years to build the 36,000 follower thing I had on Twitter, and I didn't do it by, deals with the devil. I did it by mainly just putting out good info and connecting with like-minded people. And I don't want to go through all that effort again to have it taken away again. I want to wait until I have a final solution, and then I will start putting the info out there. Me, I don't necessarily address the topic of the day. I'm talking about stuff that's 10 years in the future. And that's my main focus. So thank you folks for missing me. I appreciate that. What will keep governments from hoarding energy cubes for themselves? Well, because governments are not going to be what they are today. Like I said, the complete paradigm of the world is going to change, and that includes governments. Let's see here. I'm trying to catch up, guys. Sorry. Whoa. Where'd it go? Whoa. Man, you guys cranking out stuff. Have Truth Seekers channel. If you guys are interested, and the Quiet Voice channel are both in my on my main page. I've got I'm subscribed to them, so you can follow through and log into them there. Barcode the Gamer. Tori Tor and Patrick Bergery. I know who Tor is. I am politely discerning. Thanks, Marie. Appreciate you throwing that info out there. Saves me from having to type it. Heard they were working on DUMBs under Washington, D.C. There's so many DUMBs out there that's it's crazy. One of my biggest problems with verifying all the Eastern DUMBs prior to this is the lack of activity. It was pretty easy to line up earthquakes directly on DUMBs on the West Coast that we knew that were from the Schneiderman info. Sorry, Chain's typing something to me. I'll get, if you want, Chain, I'll cover that if you'd like. I would like to go over that with you before we bring that out, though, you and me, and talk about it some more, if you don't mind. Anyway, the DUMBs are very, very hard to prove. I kind of like to wait till I can actually get something that I can point to and say, see, versus speculation. You know, a lot of my map overlays have shown the potential for DUMBs there. And the one map I have that, you know, I believe is a national DUMB map. I can't prove it yet. It has huge correlations with a lot of other things. But can I point to it 100% and bet my life on it? No, I can't. So I'm a little bit leery about jumping fully down that rabbit hole yet. But as we see more odd earthquake events in non-earthquake prone areas on the East Coast, then, and when laying it over that earthquake map or the DUMB map, and I see the correlations there, then I begin to go, okay. So it's cause, effect, correlation, looking at all and putting it together and then being able to point to it and say yes. I don't like to present stuff unless I can say yes. And that means I've set aside myself and my own skepticism before bringing it forth. You know, I know sometimes some of the stuff I talk about seems way out there or fantastic or whatever, but always know that I won't present it as fact or reasonable unless I've established to my own satisfaction that it's a workable thing. So just know that about me. Minnie, the channel is Quiet Voice. Oh, there you go. Thanks, Joel, for posting that, or Carrie, whoever's by typing. Yeah, they are doing all sorts of shenanigans, Joel. I know, it sucks. Jason, my thought is Q is done. Drop number 64 pretty much said he must go for now. It was a 3-year delta, and it coincided within 3 days of his actual last post. So I'm willing to say that we're done with Q, and we really don't need Q anymore. Would having Q around be nice? Yes. But do we need Q? No. We have more than we know. The future unlocks the past. As we come upon events, we're still unlocking them in the Q drops. So there's so much more for us to decode there. And again, that's not one of my good things. Do I think we'll see any of this in our lifetime? Oh yeah, absolutely. We'll see it within the next 20 years, 10 years. So we'll do well. Thanks again, Joel, for posting Hev's site. Appreciate that. Thanks, 11. Yeah, Gab's a little problematic. Not sure. And Muncie, I'm not sure that Gab is the final solution yet. We'll see. Until I see some proof that POTUS is bought into Gab. That's a rumor. We don't have proof. Many Quiet Voices posted both of the channels up there. You can scroll back up in the chat and grab them. He's got them both. He posted his own channel and then the Hev Truth Seeker one. So looks like I'm caught up there. The Fitbit thing, yeah, I've kind of been all over that Fitbit thing. The only good thing that came out of that Fitbit thing was the stuff in Greenland. Everything in Antarctica, I've actually been able, and that's actually what started my Antarctica digs. And everything that came out of the Antarctica one was I was able to correlate it to a base, a known spot. So there was no secret hidden anything that anybody had there. So let's see here. That's mostly just news, so there's nothing there. Let's see here. All right. Well, Marie, yes, we know what the end outcome is going to be, but we've got so many different ways of getting there, and we don't know how long it's going to take to get there. And that's really where the problem is that we're all impatient because we know where we're going. But the biggest problem with that is that even though we know where we're going, we're not necessarily sure how we're going to get there. It's like if I'm in Seattle and I want to drive to Florida, there's thousands of ways for me to do that, thousands of different paths, thousands of different turnings. And, I know I'll end up in Florida, but how I get there, this is one of those cases of the trip being the journey being the key, not the destination. And we really need to concentrate on that because right now the destination is going to be very important. Hang on a minute. People talking shit about me, jokingly. Let's see here. Jesus, you guys are typing up a mess. All right. Album. Oh, people posting in the channels. Lots of people joining the House of Snark. Thank you, everybody. You guys behave. Okay, let's see here. Hey, Rodania, if you want to get on Telegram and throw it up, I'll be more than willing to take a look at it. I'm sure there's lots of other people who can look at it. The White House blackout last night. I think there was some humor involved there. I think it's Q telling us that they're in control. Joe, the only light was in the basement. And um, yeah, basically just a snob thumb nose at the the black hats. Um, I mean, letting everybody know that Q's really in control here. 30 days is going to be January 31st. My thought is that's actually, we're seeing that, and we're in the 10 days of darkness because that fits as well. Particle colliders underneath all sorts of stuff. I would be very interested in that because I have theories on what they use those for. The particle collider is only part of what they're capable of. Oh, hang on. I have not covered Tianjin's chain. What part of it is, or in what way are you referring? Because that may not be something that I'm aware of. Telegram takes a little bit of getting used to. Think of it as a text message combined with a chat, combined with a couple different things. Yeah, it's a little different, but once you get used to it, it's actually pretty fun and pretty powerful. I'm actually enjoying it quite a bit as far as its capability. Oh, I've seen all sorts of free energy stuff and perpetual motion machine type ideas, Muncie. A lot of them are, you can trace that there's energy being put into the system somehow. So, guys, I'm not watching a lot of videos. And Elisa, I've seen your email and I read it. It's just I'm not that focused on the corporation thing. That's going to play out however it's going to play out. I've seen lots of different proofs. They all have some potential, but none of them are conclusive. So I'm willing to only lay my neck out on that one until I know for sure. And at this point, I'm just going to wait and see. We'll know on the 31st. Yeah, DMT ayahuasca connection is definitely there. But you got to be really careful when you're using that stuff, folks. It's not something that you want to be playing around with. The key you've got to pay attention to is that whenever you're opening yourself up like that, you're opening yourself up to anything. And just because there's an entity there, you don't know if it's good or bad. It's much like Wicca. Wicca is the same idea. You go through these rituals that open yourself up to channel these things, but you don't have a choice of what you're calling. You get whatever you get, and you can get evil, you can get pure evil, or you can get pure good. Obviously, most of them don't want the pure evil. I mean, there's black witches that want it, but you can't control it. So that's why it's so dangerous. It is a dangerous thing to do. And that's not necessarily something that you want to do unless you're highly trained and highly prepared. And honestly, most people aren't. So just be very careful. Silence Do Good MBA is the one you want. Yeah, LSD was the same way, Wes. It's opening that channel, and it's exceptionally dangerous if you don't know what the hell you're doing. You just, there's lots of interesting stuff, but you just have to be so careful. You're just looking it up. You're just asking for trouble. Timothy Holmseth, have no idea who he is. Oh, is that the? Give me some frame of reference on him. I recognize the name, but I don't. There's so many names out there that you'd have to tell me which one it is. If you're having to ask me about it, it's probably somebody that I would kind of go about. Thanks, Wes. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, Lisa, I'm pretty sure that we're going to see something out of Elon and Trump together, and that's kind of what I'm waiting for. So, let's see here. I was just trying to prevent the COVID-15. Jade Helm, 9 billion rounds for DHS coffins FEMA. Yeah, you and I are going to have to talk about that chain because that's not a connection I've made. And Philadelphia experiment in quantum. I haven't talked about it because I haven't really thought about it, but I guess it makes sense. Oh, Field McConnell. Yeah, that says it all. Just walk away. Okay, guys, I'm going to just say this once. Field McConnell and Wanasavan and anything to do with those guys, they're controlled opposition. They may give you some truth, but in the long run, they're going to mislead you. So go very careful and be very cautious on anything that you follow. Discern, and when in doubt, don't. My thought about Elon is a different duck. I don't know that he could be considered good or bad. So we'll just leave it at that. Let's see here. Washington State. I got to read this here. Oh, yeah. Freaking Washington and their idiocy. All right. I don't see a lot of people talking to me over there. So, all right. So we'll stay over here. Superposition. I think I posted a telegram. My mom was doing for the idea for a patriot party kicking the other two parties. Wes, I'm of the opinion that we don't need a party. I'm of the opinion we vote whoever the fuck we want to vote for, and if they qualified, great. If they're not, tough. I don't care what party they're in. The party thing is just a way for division, and we've got to learn to get over that. Just stop thinking in those paradigms. You've got to get away from that. It's one of my biggest problems with sports teams. It's all about dividing us out into us and them. It's part of the bread and the circuses, and everybody that follows all that stuff is just being sucked into the game. Oh, well, that explains it. Thanks, Chan. That's kind of how I felt. He's neither good nor bad, but if it's to Mars, then I got to question it because we all know the issues there. So, Noetic, if you're in here, I need to get you and Chain together and me in a single chat, and the three of us need to have long conversations. That's all I'm going to say there. And there are conversations that everybody else in the world is going to want to be involved in, but no. Let's see here. All right, so we'll stay over in here because of most everything that's going on. Thomas Victor and the Cates brothers, again, discern. Here's the thing, guys. Q said no outside comms. Okay. That means no outside comms. Okay. Now, he also said there would be helper accounts come along, but they would be known and they'd be obvious. Now, to me, helpers are like Linwood and Sidney Powell and Don Jr. and Ivanka and Rudy Giuliani. Okay. Those are helper accounts. These no names that come out of nowhere and start posting stuff and pretend that they're Q, or really, you guys got to stop buying into that crap. That's just division stuff. Yeah, they might post some truth to get you hooked, but they're not part of the plan. The operators never divulge. Okay. We have to remember that. We have to play within that paradigm. Otherwise, you're just going to get misled again and again and again. And there's so much of that going on. I mean, there's major Q accounts right now that are playing the game, and most people aren't even aware of it. They're sucked into it because they're a cult of personality. You guys have got to stop doing that. You got to start looking and thinking for yourselves. I'm not scolding intentionally. It's just, I see so much of this that people have to start learning. Otherwise, we're going to just fall right back into the same traps we're in now. So it's just something I want everybody to be very, very, very aware of and cautious of, because we need to pay attention. The Q thing is, Wes, it's not really a movement. It's more, man, it's hard to explain, but it's more of a way of thinking. It's more of using logic and discernment and finding out for yourself versus trusting what other people say. And it's trusting your own eyes and what you see. And you're already there based on what based on your reactions to what I'm talking about. The connections would not be that hard for you to put together. So, and Shane, that's exactly what I mean, because you've got that out of that 135,000, the dozen that knew what they were doing, and you get someone at 135,000 commenting or dropping, but they only have part of the picture. They're not necessarily seeing the whole thing, so it can cause some confusion. Oh, you're talking about that huge explosion, that quote unquote chemical factory explosion from a while. Oh, I was not aware of that. That looks like that needs to be a thread. I like that picture. Yeah, that's what a rod from God will do. That I buy completely. I had somebody trying to tell me that a rod from God was responsible for, the monolith in Utah. Well, that was a rod from God. I'm like, you have no idea about kinetic energy, do you? I'm saving that TNGen creator picture. That's a phenomenal picture. All right. Let's see, back over here. You guys are running me all over today. Yeah, Storm, that's the key. And we just went through this, and I appreciate you bringing them back up. Don't think with emotion. You guys have got to table emotion. This kind of stuff, um, it's it's so much about setting that gut emotional visceral reaction on the shelf because it's going to mislead you. The stuff that's going on that is happening is such that it's designed to evoke that reaction out of you, and that reaction is what they want. So when you react that way, when you react emotionally, you're falling into the trap, and you have to not do that. So okay, here, I'll screen. Well, give me a second. Let me go find the video. Okay. Oh, so that was a missile. I was right about Beirut. All right, cool. The border wall, I've got a lot of people that suspect that there's more of that border wall than we know, as a Tesla thing. There's definitely something there. And you guys have to be aware. So yeah, exactly, Joel. The person that was suggesting that was a rod from God, I was just like, I basically told them they needed to go back to physics school, and they told me that they were a physicist, and I just laughed. So you're not very good at it then. Because at that point I'm going to go unleashed. Let's see here. Just go to on Telegram, Chris. Find me under Dano's House of Snark. That's my channel. That's where you're best to find me. You can follow me up. Follow me that way. Okay, everybody's asking me to do this thing, but let me go find the video of the Tianjin explosion so I can frame this correctly for y'all. Okay. Share screen. Okay, this was in Tianjin in what, 05, I think? And this caused a big deal.
It's 11:30 on Wednesday night in Tianjin. The residents taking this video are watching an explosion
Now,
and
just
fire.
pay attention. This is already pretty major, but this ain't nothing. Okay. That's nothing.
Second, even bigger blast. Estimated to be the equivalent of 21 tons of TNT. Shockwaves rocked the city, shattering windows 2 kilometers away. Witnesses likened it to the end of the world.
I mean, that's a big blow. That makes that Beirut explosion look minor.
When morning came. In the daylight, the extent of the devastation in this city of 15 million became clear.
After the second blast, my colleague called to us to come out and run. Then we rushed out together and found out that everything had already been torn down by the shock waves from the blast.
Okay, that pretty much gets that. But let me open this up for you here. Come on. It's going to be a pain. So, okay, that's the crater left behind by what happened there. You can see how devastating that rod from God is. That's the kind of energy that it expends. It's pretty wild. The kinetic energy is incredible, especially if it's coming down on a already potentially flammable or explosive target. It'll basically ignite everything all at once instantaneously. So no, that was not Beirut. This was Tianjin. Beirut was another deal. I'm being told that it was a missile, and I believe it because we've seen pictures of the missile coming in. So anyway, but yeah, that's pretty significant. So that was a supposedly that was Jade Helm and COVID-15 that prevented. So, and that makes me wonder what really was going on in Beirut. That may not have been rocket fuel. So anyway, pretty interesting. Thanks for that, Shane. Appreciate you sharing that. Bling. All right. Let's see here. What do we got people saying now? Oops. Cover up what everybody's saying. 2015, yeah, for Tianjin. My apologies. It wasn't that long ago. Let's see here. Shallow 6.3 earthquakes. Could be. I don't think that the rods from God are getting used that much. I think that they save those because, well, I don't know. I was going to say that it takes a lot of effort to get them up there, but based on what we know, it's possible that it doesn't take that much effort. So, yeah, it's a lot of tungsten. Just put it that way. Yeah, Dano's with no apostrophe. Be like water. Follow the Bruce Lee principle. If you don't know what it is, go look it up. Thank you, Minnie. Don't follow me through hell. But I appreciate the loyalty. Yeah, the red mushroom at Beirut was definitely interesting. There's some stuff there that I think that we don't know yet and that will come out eventually. But right now, it's still a miss. Let's see here. Do you know anything about our ability to disarm all nuclear weapons? I don't know that as our ability. I'm still on the fence about that whole deal. I do think that we have things that are greater than nuclear weapons. I think nuclear weapons are just a decoy. I'm not always kind, Angel. You get me cross about something by being stupid, I get to be pretty snippy. That's where the snarkish comes from. I have not looked at Antarctica in the past few days. I haven't even opened up my Google Earth in probably 3 weeks. So that tells you guys anything. You're making me go look. What area specifically? Have we gotten new imagery? Is that the issue? If we've got new imagery, then that could be interesting. Well, let's go to McMurdo because that's where everything seems to go. Oops, I got to go to McMurdo. That is McMurdo. What the hell? Oh. Yeah. Wow, they've actually got McMurdo very visible there. Yeah, there is some new imagery. Now, I want to show you guys something that someone else pointed out to me. And as many of you know, that I'm a big Antarctica guy. I'm not just a big guy, I'm a big Antarctica guy. I got to find the right picture and get it up here before I do the screen share, though. So give me a second. Now, we're all familiar with the term follow the white rabbit. A lot of people thought that that had to do with adrenochrome. And a lot of people thought that that had to do with following Alice down the rabbit hole. But as we all know, there's multiple meanings for everything. Now, I'm going to show you this, and I'm going to show it to you in relationship to Google Earth. Okay, let me share the screen here. Okay, so this is a map of Ross Island. Okay, Ross Island is McMurdo and Scott Base are right here. You can see McMurdo Station and Scott Base. They're down here. This is the peak of Mount Erebus here. There's Mount Terror. But look at what you're seeing on the screen there. Okay, you're seeing the front legs, the nose, the ear, the back, the tail, the hind legs, and the belly of a white rabbit. Okay. Follow the white rabbit. Well, where it's pointing, what's the rabbit pointing at? Scott Base and McMurdo. What's at the heart of the rabbit? Mount Erebus. Okay. Now let's take a look at this in Google Earth. All right. Here's the actual satellite shot. Now keep in mind, this is an island. And this, and the airport and everything for McMurdo, you can see, oops, you can kind of see the long runways and the pathways here. You can see the X of the runway here. You can see some stuff out here, but this is all on water. This all melts at different times of the year. Okay. But we zoom in. There's McMurdo Station right there. Okay. And if I were to go up here and turn on all my Antarctica, I got to find it. Turn on all my Antarctica stuff. You'd see everything right here. Scott Base, McMurdo, Scott's Hut, Arrival Heights. This is where we zoom out a little bit. I mean, you can see my dots right in the middle of the X for the runway there. I mean, I'm there. Hey, Rabbit, good to see you. Squadron leader in the house. But the other thing is that we got Mount Erebus right here. And again, you can see right down into the crater here. This is the lava lake that I talked about in my thread. The pit, the opening to hell, as it were. So Follow the White Rabbit has multiple meanings, and it's very, very interesting. And the other thing that's interesting is the rabbit points right at the Blood Falls, which I find kind of fascinating. Anyway, things to think about, things to see, things to be aware of, stuff that people need to pay attention to. Now, the thing I need everybody to understand is where all those earthquakes are happening is here. This is the area that all those earthquakes are happening. I've got it upside down from how you saw it earlier. I can flip it over for you so it more resembles what it looked like in the picture I showed you. Okay, so those earthquakes are happening along this line up in here. So as you zoom in, you can see that there's not much there. There's a couple bases here, but they're way out there. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if that was weapon testing going on down there. It's a pretty neglected portion of the world. This here, you can see where that's this same formation that's up here that I talk about in my Antarctica or my Atlantis thread, my little St. James thread, you can see the push of the land, and you got almost the same idea here, except this looks like this is overlapping. So this is coming under and this is coming over without the same kind of artificial looking dig. But it's the only two places on the planet where that formation happens, is at the South American and up here at the top of South America. So that's pretty interesting to me. I think there's a connection there, but I have yet to be able to figure out what it is. Oh, that makes sense. Thanks, Jane. I'm being told that the CIA, the Beirut thing was a CIA weapons cache, and they were destroying that. So let's see here. Hang on, let me get up here so I can see what's going on. I see you, Angel. Sorry, I didn't say it. Damon, good to see you, man. Glad you're back. Took forever to get everybody in here today. Let's see here. Florida Marquis is really interesting if you're ever looking to update your flag points. Ark of Gabriel. Well, I've learned something interesting about the Ark of Gabriel. I learned that it's another name for the Ark of the Covenant. There's not two, there's one, and it is the one and the same as the Ark of the Covenant, which tells me that there is a lot of interesting stuff that's about ready to go down. Because if they had the Ark of the Covenant and they took it down there, although Mecca being the hiding place of the Ark of the Covenant is kind of interesting, but I guess it kind of makes sense. That's why it hadn't been found. They may have looted it out of Jerusalem before the Templars got there. That would make sense timeline-wise. Yeah, and it would also explain the plasma emissions because, as I've discussed before, the Ark of the Covenant is definitely an electrical capacitor. It's a storage device. It basically is a Tesla thing where it can pull energy out of the atmosphere, and it stores it and it releases it. And that's why the priests had to be specially robed and clothed, because basically it was insulation. You had to be heavily insulated to handle it. Otherwise you become ground and boom, you get smoked. Ironically, the scene in the Raiders of the Lost Ark, or maybe not ironically, maybe they're telling us stuff. And the way the Ark launches electricity out and kind of melts you, the eyes closed thing, I don't think that's the case, but it's not going to protect you. But the arcing out of the power is very indicative of what an electrical or a plasma thing would do. So I think there's a lot of truth in fiction. I've said this, and I'm going to continue to say it, and I'm becoming more and more and more convinced there's more truth in fiction and myth than there is in nonfiction. Nonfiction is straight lie. Myth and fiction has elements of truth to it, and you just have to figure out what part of it is truth. And if you do that accurately and you look at a big enough picture, you can start to get a general idea of the way things are pointing. And need I say more? Let's see here. Let's see here. The Ark, very good. Well, the Ark was never in Ethiopia. That little shrine that they had in Ethiopia was nothing but a shrine. It would not have contained the Ark. There was, I forget, I had done some digging on that, and someone had actually gone to the shrine, and there was actually nothing in the shrine. It was more of a relics type thing. Let's see here. I believe that the meteor impact thing has happened in Europe and the Americas, and that the deep state is after some of that stuff. Oh, okay, Shane, you and I are going to have an off-topic conversation about that. I can see. We'll discuss that before I start bringing that out. I want to have a firm understanding before I go there. Geoped from the tribe of Levi. The arcs, well, yeah, the whole Israel and Jewish tribe thing. We're not going to get into that today. Fomenko in his chronology research, yes, I have. We're missing, we're supposedly 1,000 years that we've been missing. It's very interesting. I'd like to see some more proof. Yeah, definitely the Hiawatha impact chain, but I think there was more than just that one impact. Aleppo, which we know is a source of extreme interest to them, was also an impact crater. CERN is basically right on top of one as well. They picked them for a reason. I believe that there is a material reason for it. But again, that's something you and I can discuss offline, and you can tell me if I'm full of it or if I'm in the right direction. Yeah, and it might have been Graham Hancock's thing that I wrote, but it didn't stay there long. Deep state, and who built the ark? Well, God. But didn't Russian ships? Yeah, I carried the Russian fleet carried the ark from Mecca to Antarctica. I sent you a message back on Gab, so Rabbit. So that's where I am. Somewhat. I'm mostly on Telegram. There's I like Telegram because of the chat functions, and the way you can form channels and rooms and stuff. Gab is basically just a Twitter thing. And until I know which Twitter thing is going to be the preeminent one, I'm not going to spend a lot of effort trying to build on any of them. So, Wes, the thing is that I know that I'm willing to be wrong. I would rather be right, obviously, but if stuff happens and I'm proven wrong, then I'm proven wrong, and that's the way it is. I would always rather take the time to make sure that I'm going in the right direction than give false info. We have way too much false information getting out there as it is, and that's not what we're about. We're about making sure that good information gets out there that can be proven, and we can point a finger out and say, look, here's the sequence. And without that, we're just talking out our ass, and we don't do that. So, or at least we're not supposed to do that. I try to stay fairly true to the way things. What do we got going here? All right. Well, guys, you got anything else? I haven't seen anybody get deleted yet. I mean, but that doesn't mean it's not happening, Muncie. So, I don't know that I'd say I'm virtuous, but and I'm definitely not wise. But I'm a long ways from wise. I'm wise enough to know that I don't know. Let's just put it that way. So, I appreciate that, though. Mac, I tried looking for that Alaska pyramid, and I could not find the damn thing. The location that I got was, I was able to zoom in enough to see that there was a bit of a discoloration on the ground in a rectangular pattern. And if it's buried, it's going to be pretty deep. There's actually, it's listed online. You can go and find it. They actually give you almost exact coordinates for it. I was digging for it, but there's nothing that I have that, gives you anything that it's an above the ground thing. Now, what's interesting is that whole area up there is full of pyramidal mountains, much like Antarctica is. When I was just kind of scanning based on eyeball before I decided to go see if there actually was some mention of it online. Now you threw in Socrates. There's a lot of interesting stuff there. So you don't have to butter me up, Wes. Thanks. I appreciate it. Well, there's more to Aleppo than I think that most people realize. We're just starting to understand it. Aleppo is very, very much the center of a lot of what we're dealing with in the deep state and the Satanists. And we need to kind of look at that very carefully. It's maybe not something that's pressing, but I think it's something that's important. And yes, 107 is to be taken very discerningly. Let's just put it that way. Served in Iraq wars during Baghdad raids. Somebody heard of all sorts of rumors about Vimana. That does not surprise me at all. Yes, Storm, Aleppo is in Syria. And if you want, I can fire up the maps and show you the impact and Aleppo and blah, blah, blah. The Vimana, we know, were real. The Vedas pretty much tell us this. We just kind of go with it. And yeah, there's, the thing we've got to understand is that there's some ancient documents out there that we actually need to pay attention to that we don't. And Wes, I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. The positive vibes are very much appreciated. And yes, there aren't a lot of that out there, but you'll find in most of my grouping that there's a lot of positiveness. So it's a pretty good group of people. The ley lines don't line up quite as well as we want them to, at least what I have. Now there's different versions of ley lines. So part of that might be might be part of the issue. What I have may not be the actual ley line setup. The meteor crater in North Arizona is just a meteor. I actually have a piece of that meteor, by the way, a pretty big one, bigger than my hand, C-shaped. I even have a picture of it around somewhere. I can go out in the front room and grab it and show it to you if you wanted. You're not supposed to get them, but I have an Indian friend that had gone down there, and they're allowed to because it's Indian land. And he actually picked it up, and he found out that I was interested in meteorites, and he just gave it to me. I'm like, you're kidding me. I went and had it evaluated later just because I was curious, and it was like a $2,700 meteorite or something silly. It was because it was, C-shaped. You could see the burn marks and stuff. I'm like, you know what? Give me a minute. I'm going to grab it. Because I can just show it to you. It's on the other end of the house, so I'll be a minute. see me hobbling around here. Okay, there it is. It's very heavy. You can see the pock marks in it. You can see the burn through. This right here is almost burned through totally. If that had been burned through, it would have about tripled the value, supposedly. But it's kind of cool. It's very textured. It's heavy too. It's, you know, probably 10 pounds. Surprisingly heavy for the size. So anyway, being a geology / space / volcano / whatever, that's one of my little treasures. Let's see here. Simon Parks, stay away from. Charlie Ward, probably also. Simon Parks just recently claimed he was talking to Q. That should tell you everything you need to know. Let's see here. There's a lot of places where there's constant sightings. A lot of work, a lot of places. Waiting for the closet door to fly open. Yeah, now there's nothing in there. A couple old musical instruments. Concept of Q is not a singular person. We know this. Q is a group of people. The core group is less than 10, of which only 3 are non-military. But we do not know who they are for sure. We do not have any guarantees. We think we know who a couple of them are, but that's about it. Kay, no, I do not have a new Twitter. I am on Gab and Telegram right now. Yeah, Ghost, there's definitely a serpent dragon formation there. I've pointed it out in the past. Let's go see what's over here. Oops. Lion, part of the reason that I take Juan with a grain of salt is he was mixed up with Field McConnell. Field McConnell has been shown to be nothing but a troublemaker and a shill. So, you know, you judge people by the quality of their friends. And we'll just go with that. Yeah, and that's, I believe one is the one on the right in that picture, JP. Yeah, according to sources. And anytime that somebody is, and Angel's got a really good point there. Anytime anybody's unwilling to quote a source, that you could be just pulling that information straight out of your ass, and they often do. My book link. Oh, no, I don't. I need to get that back up for people. In fact, I've I've added to the list because of that list, and other people had suggestions, and well, I've got more books sitting on the floor here to read. So I'll update that and get it out there. The easiest way to find me on Gab is to look up my channel, which is Dano's House of Snark. There is no apostrophe in it. So it's just, there's a channel there where it's basically a feed of news aggregates and stuff, digs, decodes. I'm not posting threads there yet. I will be. I got to start working on how to do threads in Gab and Telegram that allow me to post images and stuff like that. So I have to get that figured out before I reproduce anything or produce anything new. So right now it's just a group of really goddamn solid anons that are putting information together and putting it out there. And basically it's a news feed so that we can see and keep track of what's going on while working on the newest things that are going on. So I'm not comfortable with all of the information that's being put out there and who's putting it out. So we are doing our own thing. I don't want to create an anon war, but there's definitely some spoopy stuff that goes on in some of the big accounts, and I've noticed it for quite a while, and I'll just leave it at that. I might be a little more suspicious than some, but anyway. Yeah, Joe, if you want to do that, that's fine. I would really, that'd be awesome. I'm glad somebody saved it. I mean, I still have it. I don't have it in, a form I can slam out right away. So, yeah, I've got more, Joe. Sorry. After I shared my list, people started sharing back, and some of them started really giving me some ideas and things, and ones I'd wanted to get, so I just grabbed them. This one, that's a good one. That's another good one. They're a little bit out there for some people, but it's the kind of stuff I like reading. So I don't know if I showed you guys this yet. This is one of the ones that I just scored. This is a book from the 1961 Operation Deep Freeze to Antarctica. And this is the cruise book that is put out by the Navy for the people that were on the ships. And, it's kind of hard to show right here, but there's, it's got a lot of original stuff in it. Photos, just tons of information about people that are there. It's like a yearbook, but for the people that were on that cruise, and it shows all sorts of interesting stuff. I need to go through this because there's just an absolute ton of good info. But at the back here, there's a list of the different people that were on the boats and the experiments that were done, all sorts of stuff. So there's a lot of good information in this. It's actually not the one I really wanted. I thought I was getting the one from 55. I didn't realize that there was more than one book that had the exact same cover. Live and learn. But guys, here's the thing. If you, this is going to kind of sound somewhat self-serving, but don't follow any one person. If you follow one person, you are going to get misled, and not always about anything intentionally, but one person is always going to put their own slant on things. I mean, I do. I mean, I come at things from a very specific viewpoint. I try to be as open-minded as I can, but there's times where I'm going to make mistakes. And the whole idea of this is that we take multiple sources of information and distill it down to a single cause, a single thought process, a single way that we look at something. And I am not the only source. And that's why like my channel on Telegram's awesome, because I got 20 or 30 anons that are really good diggers that are putting stuff together, that come up with news. They post news. They actually post the sauce. You can go read the sauce yourself. You can look at it. You can discern. You can decide yourself. You can see the patterns yourself. The information is laid out there for you to make the connections yourself. You're not relying on somebody else to do it for you. You do it yourself, which is the whole idea behind the Anon movement. It's about getting you to think and do for yourself, to not rely on people like Wano Saban or this Simon Park or whoever you want to throw out there. Don't trust anyone 100%. Not even me, please. I ask you not to. Just stay with your own discernment and your own knowledge. So, and that's all I ask. So, anyway. And yeah, Joe, I have more. I'm sorry. Charlie Ward is disinformation. Yeah, and we've kind of adapted that Anon term, Wes. It did come from Anonymous, but it is not the current group of Anonymous. Anonymous currently is not what it started out to be. But the idea behind it, the original idea behind it, is solid. Ghosts, like I say, go to my Dano's House of Chat or House of Snark. I can get you guys out there, and I can start throwing out ideas and places to follow. But I really recommend you get multiple sources of information. Don't trust anyone. And discernment is all. And that's basically all you can ask for. Well, Terry, if you need Social Security disability, I don't think there's any right or wrong time to do it. I think it's what you need to do, and you need to do it. I do not think that Social Security will be at risk, because in reality, that's our money. And that's, if anything, that's one thing that Trump will make sure that we have access to, is our money. Do I get the Schumann resonance, and do you understand it, and how is it relevant? The Schumann resonance is effectively the heartbeat of the Earth. And that's actually not even an accurate statement. It's more a measure of the consciousness of the planet. It's a harmonic. And when we are in line with that and in sync with that, that's when we start really seeing the big, the upticks in the white and the green. The red is supposedly evil, which I don't know. I'm not sure I buy that 100%, but I think it's just a color choice and people assign that name to it. But you're going to see spikes in it based on pressure from the outside, be it solar wind or cosmic energy or whatever. So there's some interesting things going on there. I do think that it affects things like ringing ears, and headaches, and it could also partially be attributed to thought processes and stuff like that. So we're more affected by cosmic stuff going on than we're willing to know or admit. So how do we get on Telegram? www.telegram.com. Follow the bouncing ball. Yeah, there's a lot. Nurse Renan's correct. There's a lot of disinfo going on right now. So everybody needs to be super, super, super disinfo. Rabbit, I believe that the plan is still in play. Do I believe that Trump is going to come back in? I'm not sure about that. I really, really think that Trump himself could be a big impediment to people waking up until they can deal with the TDS issue. Trump is more of an impediment than a positive force. And I say that loving the guy to death, but there's people that can't get over his demeanor. They can't get past the New Yorkness of the New York. And, you know, people that have never been to New York and don't understand that's just how New Yorkers are. They won't get it. And some people purposely misconstrue it so that they have something to bitch about. So they have to remove that for a while at a minimum to be able to move to the next phase and move through the next phase. Remember, the ultimate goal of this whole thing is to wake the normies. We're in a movie where we're watching the normies get woke. And in so doing, they're going to do whatever it takes to get that done. So that's how I look at it. So let's see here. I got somebody saying something to me over here. Yeah, I'll let you guys know if I figure out how to do threads and Gab. I'm working on it. Noetic, are you watching? But you better get in here and chat. I need to get you and Shane and me, like I say, hooked up and put together. On Gab, I am at Snarkish Dano. It's my old Twitter name. So sorry, I should have clarified that. On Gab, I'm one thing. On Telegram, I'm the other. If that makes sense. Thank you, Vicky. Enjoy the show. Yeah, it's hard to find everybody. I've got a lot of people put back together on Telegram because a lot of us seem to have gone there. Gab was just so messed up for so long that everybody kind of just ended up on Telegram as a place to communicate. So there's a lot of people there, but you know, we'll get out there eventually. Just a couple months of turmoil before we do. I need to just take off some time to mourn my loss. That sounds horrible, but Angel, I think he's watching. I do not think Biden's EOs are actually anything. If you look at what he's signing, they're blank. And he's not signing them with Joe Biden's official signature. He's signing him with Joe R. Biden Jr., which I didn't know he was a junior. That just magically appeared recently. And the signature is different than the old Joe Biden signature. So anyway. They're not officially listed anywhere. There's a lot of things about those. Yeah, right. Anon. Well, I'll be good. But anyway. Yeah, I need to get Noetic and Chain together. Their Mac is probably, there's only a couple people that know the two of them. And I need to get those two in the same room and set them down and do some cross-examining. Let's just say between the two of them, I could get a lot of information. More than they perhaps realize they could. Let's see here. Well, you got to remember that, and Maxie, that one of the things that was asked in an open Q&A session for Q was, is there a plan for after Trump? And there is Q responded with yes. So we know that there is a plan for post-Trump. And are we in the post-Trump plan now? Or are we in the middling Trump plan now? Meaning, are we, only partway through the Trump plan, and March 4th, we're going to find out if the constitutional U.S. thing is real, and we have another election, and we get rid of the old government, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. Really don't. I don't think anybody can say they know. So we'll just leave it be. We're gonna find out soon enough as it is, and I think that's all we can do at this point. We're kind of in that darkness phase now. We may be getting a lot more information here after. Let's see. Today's the 24th, so we've got a week. 31st is probably going to be the drop day. I got, at least we think so. So be interesting. Let's see here. Here, you know what, guys? I can do this easy. I should have thought about this. There. That's the link to my Telegram channel. I might have missed it, Nurse. What did you ask? I'm sorry. I've been trying to keep track of 2 or 3 different chats here, so since I got people on Telegram, not on Twitter or not on YouTube. Well, Christina, think about it. If we're waiting until March 4th for the new constitutional republic to be put back into place, does that suggest anything to you? Yeah, and Quiet Voice actually can attest to the efficacy of that fence. He works in the prison system, and he pointed out that that fence was definitely built to keep people in, not out. So, and he of anybody would know that. Nuclear codes in the space rocket launched half an hour before faking out. No, I don't believe that. Now, do I believe that Biden has the real ones? No. Keck is a Chan speak. It's a joke about a Japanese gun or Japanese game that they mistranslated LOL to Keck. So that's all that is. Nurse, do I think the reset of the recent collapse of multiple governments is a prelude to the paradigm shift or simply the result of exposure of corruption? I'm going to say yes. I think that the exposure of corruption is the prelude to the paradigm shift. So there you go. I think it's one and the same. Yeah, I think Beer got it from Joel, actually, Damon, because Beer was there at the time that Joel pointed that out to us. So not to rain on Beer's parade. I've waited months to be able to say that. Too bad he wasn't here. Oh, was that what it was? Was World of Warcraft? Okay, possible. I guess that was in there, wasn't it? Now I think way back, like the original World of Warcraft or the current MMO type deal. Yeah, I thought you were. That's what I was wondering why you were saying that. But anyway. Do I think Nasara and Jasara has validity? And yes, we are on the same page, Nurse. I know that we're coming to a worldwide monetary reset. So do I think that it's possible? Yes. Do I think it's everything that everybody's saying it is? No. Do I think that we're going to get millions of dollars each? No, you can't do that. I mean, for the same reason you can't pay people $15 an hour, everybody $15 an hour, because what happens is then that the price of everything goes up to accommodate it. So say we all end up with $20 million in the bank account, every one of us. Okay. Well, all of a sudden people go out and they'll spend, $500,000 on a house is no big deal. And $1 million is no big deal. Then $10 million is a bit no big deal because people keep jumping the prices. Well, in 2 years' time, the economy will be so screwed up because everybody's got so much money to be able to put into it that it'll just 20 million become the new 20,000. So it's I don't see that being a way of doing it. But do I think that there is a new paradigm and a new way of doing things? Yes, absolutely. I think we're coming to a gold standard. I'm not even sure that we are going to have money as we know it going forward. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what would happen. We'd be paying $1,000 per gallon of milk. So, because I mean, why not? It's no big deal. Yeah, it just in Storm is exactly right. And what it does is it just shifts the decimal point. It just makes you feel like you're spending more. It's inflationary. So I don't see that happening. I really don't. Trump is too smart and too savvy to fall into that trap. Would I love it? Yeah, I'd love to be able to have that kind of money all of a sudden at my disposal. I could do all sorts of things I've always wanted to do. But that's exactly why you can't do that, because we can't do that. So, Mark of the Beast, the new vaccine with the RNA changes, that could easily be the Mark of the Beast. RFID chips, definitely Mark of the Beast. Any sort of permanent implant for monetary reasons, I think is going to definitely be the Mark of the Beast. Because that's kind of what the Mark of the Beast is. So, I do think that there could very well be some debt stuff go away. I'm going to really, 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 really not hold my breath until that becomes more known. So we'll just leave it at that. Yeah, thanks, Christy. I had to take some time off after I got nuked off of Twitter. So I haven't written any threads in a while. So this was kind of just some new paradigm stuff and just Q&A about pretty much as we do always, open question and answer at the end. And yes, Yorkie, it would be very contradictory to the idea of what I had earlier. I don't think money is going to play as big of a role as we want to think it could. There is, there's the saying, money is the root of all evil. Well, see you later, Storm. Thanks. If you remove the money from the equation, then that root goes away. So I really think that that is a very big potential possibility. We'll see. I mean, I'm trying to look into the future with, dirty glasses that are, 7 years out of date and half blind and only part of the information. So, I could be way the hell off. So we'll see. Time is going to tell, and that's all we can do. I mean, it'd be nice to know so you can make plans and adjust for it, much as I'd love to, but it's not going to work. And again, I don't know that we're going to see 45 back in office. We may see somebody else. There's been other people that have been being groomed for the position. So, see you, 11. Pompeo could be a good choice. I honestly think that they were starting to groom. What's her name? The daughter. One of the first press secretaries, the one that stepped down to go be with family and then was going to run for governor of Georgia, and I guess she didn't or whatever. But I think that she was being groomed. Yeah, as far as actual wealth, yes, the EOs pretty much give us the wealth of the world. That all of those people have squirreled away, and that's exactly what those EOs were designed to do. And yes, Ivanka was very high on the list. Yeah, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I honestly think that Sarah was being strongly groomed for that position, but I could be wrong. Ivanka is an obvious choice. Don Jr. Jesus Christ, Don Jr. would rock it. He's even more well spoken than his dad, from what I've seen. But yeah, Kushner, I'm on the same fence. I'm with a fence sitter with him. We'll see how things go. So, and we may have Trump back before too long. I could be totally wrong on that. It's the pessimist in me preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. And yes, we were discussing that earlier, Chrissy. They are definitely not real. So, actually, Greenland will be ours, not Denmark. We don't want Denmark. It can stay underwater. Greenland, we want. There is a ton of really, really, really valuable stuff there. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. Greenland has got so much mineral wealth, heavy metal wealth. It's just astounding what's there. And I agree. I think Junior would be awesome, but I don't. The thing I want to be very, very cautious of is I don't want this to appear to be a dynasty or anything. We've already experienced that with the Bushes and the attempted Clintons. And, I think the Obamas are going to try it with Mooch if they can get a chance. But we'll see. Yeah, and the thing that most people don't realize about Greenland is that Greenland physically is the closest to the North Pole out of everything. So whoever owns Greenland has the biggest claim to what's at the North Pole. And the North Pole has got tons of resources under the water. Because no matter what, it's still cheaper to get the minerals here. But yes, Damon, those are all good recommendations. I second those. X22 is also a good one. I'm going to throw that out there. They're one of the few big accounts that I still think is pretty solid. 40 Head is another great follow. If you guys don't know who he is, I would highly recommend him as well. Something I don't know that a lot of people know about is that 40 Head, IET, me, LEB, there's 3 or 4 others are all here from the same state. We're all from Washington. And not once has any one of us gotten together, which I thought kind of interesting. You would think that that much power, Twitter power, would be something that we would leverage and try to make use of, but apparently we're not that smart. Dirk, if you go to my main YouTube page, you'll see them on there. They don't show up on a search, but I've got them linked here. So. And don't let Damon fool you. Damon is a good follow as well. He's pretty damn brilliant as well. And he's your Tesla free energy man. And together he and I and one other person are the Khazaria Tartaria triad. So that'll be coming to you all soon. 40 Head is on Telegram right now. I don't know that he's on Gab. Yeah, I saw there was some quake storms under Mount Hood. I mean, Mount Hood's due. I mean, it's one of the Pacific volcanoes. They all go. Baker, Rainier, St. Helens, Hood, Shasta, Garibaldi, Lassen. They're all players. Huh. You're going to make me think there, Chain. Okay. I'll put that in the cap of pondering. Yeah, 40 Head got nuked off Twitter, but he's on Telegram. It's 40_head. What a quake storm is it's common under volcanoes. Like I was showing with that group of quakes down in Antarctica or in the Sandwich Islands earlier, it's a group of quakes that are clustered close together. And it's called a quake swarm. And usually if it's under, usually if it's under a volcano, it's an indication that magma movement is happening. And if magma movement is happening, that's usually an indication that magma is moving up the system. If it goes on for an extended period of time, you're pretty sure that you're going to see an eruption. If it comes and goes, then it probably not. So Nibiru, I'm going to call no on. And here's why. If Nibiru was in the plane of the ecliptic, meaning in the standard orbital pattern that most of the planets are in, it would disturb the orbits of the planets greatly. And there would be they would be able to prove that there was another big object out moving around. Even if it's a dark object, we'd still be able to see it because it would eclipse stars and things like that. That has not been found. Now, if we're orbiting against the, perpendicular to the plane of the ecliptic, meaning here's your solar system and this is all the planets pretty much orbit like this. If you've got something that's orbiting like this, that's much more difficult to do. But it's possible. But something like that would not keep pace indefinitely. It would fall behind. Now, having said that, there are lots of accounts in fiction that point at a Nibiru type idea. And having used fiction and myth to perpetrate truth, we can look at that and go, well, maybe there's some truth to that. I'm thinking of one thing specifically, and that's Anne McCaffrey and Pern. and the Thread Planet. It's a very good approximation of a Nibiru type thing. In fact, the descriptions of it are fairly accurate. So does that mean that they just picked up on the Nibiru idea and threw it out there as a potential? Yeah. It makes a good story. Do I think that Nibiru is real? I think it's something, but it's maybe we're not understanding exactly what it is. I don't know that it's another planet as much as it could be, you know, they were saying 2,600 years. Oh, don't you do that to me, Chain. You know, the Nibiru cycle is supposedly something like 25 or 2,600 years. I honestly think that they may have dropped to zero, and I think it's 25,000 years. And if we look at that 25,000 year cycle, we're into that cycle of where we cross the plane of the ecliptic that we're supposedly entering into right now for the galaxy. And I think it could be a misinterpretation of those two events. So I could be wrong. That's just my take on it. Yeah, 26,000. Okay, let's see here. Let me go back in the chat here. Just look for 40 on Twitter. Can't find him. Yeah, no, he's not on Twitter. Everybody's, when I talk about people, they're not on Twitter anymore. Just so y'all know, don't even pay attention to Twitter. It's Gab or Telegram. I really think we are going to get closure, Rabbit. I don't think that we could have gotten as far as we have, and I don't see Trump giving up. He's not a quitter. Now, does that mean that we're going to see closure tomorrow? No. Does it mean we'll see closure within our lifetimes? Probably. Does it mean we'll see closure within the next couple of years? I don't know that I'm going to be willing to commit to that. So it's been a rough road, but you know, we can't you can't undo 6,000 years of corruption and evil in just a couple of years, and you can't do it without breaking some eggs too. So yeah. All right, what do we got here? Anybody else got anything that they want to talk about? Thanks, Hev. I appreciate that. Well, okay, let me kind of give you something even more to chew on that might even blow your mind more. There's a common misconception that we are now at the peak of civilization that's seen on this planet, and that is a very big misconception. We're probably the 6th or 7th technological peak that has occurred on this planet, and that's not all humans necessarily, and we are not necessarily the first intelligent species to evolve on this planet. So we're just going to have to wait and see how things play out. But in a lot of cases, what might be alien is not necessarily alien. They might even predate us on this planet. We may be the aliens to them. So my toe is, the toe itself is okay. Um, let's just say that I have many issues in my feet, and I'm fighting them badly right now. And that's why I didn't hobble out of here real easily earlier. I should have probably not done that, but I did. So. I'm not sure I buy that, Minnie. So I think a lot of that's been planted by the deep state to make the alien threat seem to be more than it is. Oh, the Diehold Foundation. You're going to get me going on that. Yeah, pretty much, Minnie. The toe is fine. The rest is broken. And that's not untrue. I get gout and I also have Achilles tendon problems. So in that one foot, I've got 3 different things going on right now. And my other foot is acting with gout right now. So I might as well just cut my feet off and be happy. Although, as a favorite nurse of mine was telling me the other day, I had the phantom pains that get to me then. So I cut them off for no good. They'd still hurt. Anyway, foundations. Sorry, Chris, I did see your question about that earlier. I didn't get a chance to say anything. Foundations are bad, period. We'll just leave it at that. As far as Diehold, the whole micronova thing, let's just say if that's true, then everything that we're going through here is for naught. Because we're going to see some major problems if that helps. So the whole Diehold thing, I don't know. I've got good friends and good Twitter associates that are all over that and claim it's the truth, and people that I trust, but I know more than a little and your average bear about that kind of thing. So I'm kind of on the fence. So anyway, in Antarctica, well, I'd say go read my Twitter threads and you'd have all your answers, but I can't do that. So, go back about 4 videos. I cover all my Antarctica stuff. Take your 4 hours, watch it. If that doesn't answer everything you have to do about Antarctica, right, wrong, indifferent, real, fake, bullshit, non-bullshit, I don't know. That's about probably the most complete thing you're going to see on Antarctica. And I do not cover flat Earth. I do not cover Agartha. I do not cover flying discs. I deal in facts and what can be shown and proven. So, okay. Yeah, and I'm wondering if I'm not getting that in my shoulder from time to time, Damon, because I got a shoulder that goes painful and it feels like it's out of joint, but no matter what I do, it doesn't pop back in. But it's real tender to touch, and it gets swollen really badly. And so I think I'm fighting in a couple spots. So anyway. Let's see here. You can go to just research Diehold Foundation. Just be ready for the scare porn. It will definitely make you worry about the future if you take it 100% at face value. Linwood, I think, is a truth disseminator. I also think that we need to take some of what he says with a grain of salt. He's baiting, and we need to take that true to mind and keep that at the forefront of our mind. I have thought about creating a website. I've run websites before. I just don't have time for it. Plus, it's too easy to get deplatformed and such. I'm really not necessarily into all that work and then having it yanked out from underneath me. Kind of already did that with Twitter. Kidney functions fine, Pamela. I had that tested not even a year ago. Damon, gravity drive, we know it's there. We've seen that, seen a lot of evidence that the anti-gravity is there. So, and Epstein was a co-financer of the Clinton Foundation. I don't know if he was a co-founder, but co-financer for sure. I'm getting a hint here from a trusted source that we need to look into the Helena group. Damon, I'm looking at you. Helena group. And anybody else that wants to dive in on that? I'm throwing that out there for everybody to potentially spend some time digging. No, not Helena Blavatsky. The Helena group. That's a different deal. So and yes, guys, it's very hard to find people you can trust. I would like to say that I'm one of them, but I don't want you to trust me any more than you trust anybody else. If that helps there. No, we're going to say the Tartaria, Khazaria, Phoenician, Hittite, satanic Moloch worshippers for another time, aka the Talmudic Jews, the Khazarian Mafia. That's a whole nother show. That one we could actually take 5 hours on just in and of itself. It's almost as complex as the Nazi thing. And the Nazi thing, I could probably write a whole series of books on. So, yeah, the phrase that was used to me about this Helena group is it's the who's who of the deep state. So, Yep, Lisa, correct. The Canaanites and cannibal is the origin of the word. Oh, I definitely don't say things that are definitely going to happen. I did that once because I thought I had it all figured out, and I was sure I had all my ducks in a row. Nope. I learned real fast that anything that we can prove to be a date is probably fake, because if we can prove it, the others can prove it too. That is going to be my official Telegram, Cindy. Hey, Julie. Good day. So yeah, my official Telegram is the House of Snark. When I post something, I will post it there. That will be where it gets put. As far as what I think about sacred math, I believe it totally and completely. It's encoded into the universe. The golden ratio. It's right there. It's hard to argue, and it's involved in many things. It's involved in music. It's involved in a lot of things. No, Chain, I haven't gone over Jamal Khashoggi. His connections are so myriad. That's one that you could almost do a complete show on in and of itself. Between him and his, I believe he was the uncle of the Khashoggi that got killed, and he also was like a major financier and connected to Epstein and connected to, well, he was connected to Maxwell, not Epstein. But then he was connected to all the royalty of yeah. Wasn't he also connected to Princess Diana in a way? Wasn't he part of her boyfriend's circle or something? There's a lot there that I never have really dug into, and I read about it at one point. And anyway. Hey, Rabbit, see you later, buddy. Thanks for checking in. Appreciate you coming by, man. As far as 17 predicting future events, remote viewing is one way to describe it. Remote viewing is a imperfect exercise. I once heard a remote viewer state that they're only accurate about 70% of the time. So I think that they combine that with Project Looking Glass to potentially look into potential futures, and they try to get away from the ones that are bad and negative. So they steer as much as they can, but they can still steer into something that they haven't seen. Because if you don't know what you're looking for, you don't know what to find. Now, that's the beauty of the remote viewers, is that the remote viewers will often see things that you're not asking for, because they, quantum brings them there. But it doesn't always work that way. So it's very interesting. One of the books that I recommend in my reading list is about remote viewing. So Russell J. Gould. Oh my. Yeah, just whatever. Don't put any stock in Russell J. Gould. He may turn out to be the savior, but nothing sat right with me about that whole thing from the get-go. That's hopium infused with meth, as far as I'm concerned. But I'm a little bit more harsh about people like that than I probably should be. But I don't necessarily think that he's a good hang on. It's called Psychic Warrior. It's by David Morehouse. There you go. he actually was an RV guy. And he describes how he got in the program and all the stuff. So it's a very good one to grab and read if you have not. Do I believe Diana is still alive? Possibly. Any of the people that are, is Elvis still alive? Is Diana still alive? Is JFK Jr. still alive? Is JFK still alive? God, would it be wonderful? Absolutely. But is it reality? I don't know. I'm not gonna put any hopes there. I'm not gonna hang anything on it. If it happens to be true, phenomenal. If it doesn't, then we're not out anything. I don't think anything's gonna majorly change if they're not there. So yeah, Michael Jackson's another one that potentially could be. So, but I mean, every one of these is a star that's got a cult following, and in some way, shape, or form, and a lot of people have trouble just admitting that somebody might be gone. So anyway. Yeah, but the thing about the quantum grammar thing, Terry, is that I've heard it espoused nowhere. So he's the only source for much of this. And I just, kind of single source info kind of makes me sketchy, especially when I haven't heard about any of it from anybody else. Now, is that the kind of thing that could potentially happen because it's Admiralty old law, but we don't understand it, so we don't know how to manipulate it anymore, and he found the loophole? Possibly. But I can't see that getting by like the Q group or Trump, or it's like this Hazlitt guy in the UK, I mean, it's the same exact thing, the true king of England. I've had a lot of English folk tell me he's full of shit. So I don't know. What do you believe? I mean, I made the joke a while ago that I've probably got more right to the English throne than the current monarchs do. But and that was before I knew I actually descended from an earl from England. So I'm a direct male line descendant. So I might have been right. I don't know. But anyway, it turns out that there's some steward in me in the back and way back. But anyway, we'll see. Things are going to change. Life will change. We're all our whole concept of the world and what we see is going to undergo such a paradigm shift that we're going to have to totally re-examine how we look at the world. And that's the bottom line. So all right. That's okay, Terry. It's fine to ask questions. Sometimes they may not be able to give as clear answers you like, or I might give you more of a negative than you want to hear. But you'll definitely know where I stand on something. I tend to be pretty firm in my belief structure, and I do have a lot of problem with a lot of the information that's being put out by people. There's a lot of stuff out there that just it's not tenable. So we just have to be careful because we're in a time frame here where the enemy's within the walls, and they're the people that we have trusted. So, well, the event that's coming is the Great Awakening. That's the bottom line. Yeah, The Matrix is what it is. There's so many movies that we can look at and we can point at and say, um, you know, that they were a presage of what was coming. And anyway, what's my thoughts on the crappy governors in the Pacific Northwest? Well, I'm in Washington, so I'll argue with you about which one's crappier. I think the whole West Coast is China owned, and they're just puppets. I know the Washington governorship has been a puppet of China since at least Gary Locke. I can't imagine that and we know that California is China owned between Feinstein and Pelosi and Newsom and all those guys. I mean, they're all interconnected and intermarried and whatever. So, chain, yeah, we've already made that connection with. I've done a thread on that one with somebody. We connected that to Mitt Romney and the Mormons and the cartels and a bunch of shit, including some trafficking lanes that were previously undiscovered, and the fact that the quote unquote unidentified cartels up in that neck of the woods, up in Utah and stuff, are actually the Juarez cartel, even though they don't publicly show it. It's really obvious if you look at things. So they're people covering. Am I good with AWK? I don't know what AWK is. I'll be honest. Yeah, Helena Group would probably, it makes sense to be a BlackRock or Carlyle like. And we know. Oh, I saw something about that. I am not sure. Remind me where that's from. Okay. I can't comment. I don't know. And then for some reason that name sounded familiar, but I guess it's not what I thought it was. I'll just reserve judgment because I can't say. What's going to jar everyone awake? The kids. Oh, is Serial Brain and we know Serial Brain? Oh, if it's Serial Brain too, then yeah, then he's okay. He does some really wild fucking decodes. I know exactly who Serial Brain is. I've never been convinced that the EBS will happen. Do not necessarily buy into that one. I think that's been disinformation to get them to expand the Alamo, and D-Class very possibly too. Okay, thanks, H. I didn't realize that they were the one and the same or connected. But yeah, Serial Brain is got some real brilliant stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised about adrenal harvesting anywhere. You have no idea how big that is. Climate change fairy, nah, that ain't gonna happen. Aliens is the next one. Later, Damon. EBS is emergency broadcast. Well, I'm going to say something that may not be super popular, but I need to get it out there. We need to not necessarily lock ourselves into Christian or non-Christian paradigms. We're going to find out that we've all been lied to. So that's all I'm going to say on that. If you want to know more, then go back and look up my couple of my past threads, videos. I've covered them pretty extensively. The Satanist one is a good one. So that one's got a lot of information and a lot of detours on it. And there's a couple before that as well that I cover a lot of stuff. I don't want to go rehash it here, but again, British Virgin Islands, I was showing that area earlier. It's a very tectonically active area. A 5-4 is not that big of a deal there. That's normal. How many alien species are there? Wow. I don't even want to put a guess out there because I don't even know that they're necessarily aliens that we're seeing here. We could be the aliens, and that's the thing that I think will cause a lot of people issues. We're not the first intelligent species on this planet. So, do I believe the EBS system is going off right this second? No. Do I think it's a possibility? Yes. Do I think it will be done after or done as everybody thinks? No. Oh yeah, the nuclear family is the target because as soon as they weaken that, they've taken away everything that binds the American dream together. That's their goal. Yes, the religions themselves are control mechanisms. The spirituality is not, the belief in God is not, but the actual religion itself is. Looking at the problems within Catholicism should give you a pretty good idea of all of it. Well, the Albert Pike prophecies were not prophecies. The Albert Pike things were actually plans. And the only reason they've come true is because he wrote them and designed them for the deep state. And that is the game plan that they are using to help bring about some of their ideals and their goals. So prophecy, no. Plan, yes. Jane, I am on Telegram under Dano's House of Snark with no apostrophe. And I am on Gab under Snarkish Dano. And here, I will do you a favor. I will make it easy. I will do this again here. There is a Telegram for you. And how do I do this? Is there a way I can share my... I want to do that. Ooh, yuck. It's not what I wanted to do. Well, here. Here's my Gab handle. Oh, Phil Spector, Jesus. Yeah, he was a problem child. Well, guys, hate to do it to you, but I got to get going. Yeah, I'm at the point where I need to kind of get off and get my feet up in the air and let the blood flow back out of them. So I will talk to you all later. Thank you very much for joining in and saying hi. Much love and peace to all of you. Remember, keep your head up. Things are going to get better. They're going to be rough for a while. They're going to get rougher for a while, but we're playing the long game. We're not playing the short game. So remember that. Keep that out there. Be ready. Prepare your family as much as you can, but support your family as much as you can. So anyway, thanks, guys. Good seeing y'all. Good catching up with everybody. Hopefully you can all find me. I'll put some notes in the channel so that if anybody sees it, they'll. Muncie, shut up. Well, we'll do this again. We'll get it back together and we'll keep going. So, thank you.